They say the world is full of music, but some melodies are only heard in silence. This is their story. The world told them love was spoken, but they rewrote the story in silence. Lena's hands moved like poetry, painting the air with her emotions. Deaf since birth, she had learned early that people feared silence, but to her, it was a language all its own. She taught sign language at the community center, her smile warm, her eyes alight with unspoken stories. Then one rainy afternoon he walked in. Ethan, a former musician, stood in the doorway, his shoulders tense with grief. A car accident had stolen his hearing 2 years ago, and with it, his music, the one thing that had made him feel alive. He had spent months drowning in isolation until a friend dragged him to this class, insisting you need to learn how to live again. Their eyes met across the room. Lena saw the pain in his gaze, the way his hands hesitated, unsure. Ethan saw the quiet strength in hers, the way she carried herself like a storm wrapped in grace. When she signed welcome, something inside him cracked open. Their love wasn't easy. Ethan's frustration would erupt like thunder, throwing his hands in the air, signing, "I miss the music. I miss the way life used to be." Lena would pull him close, pressing his palm against her chest, so he could feel her heartbeat. "This is a song too," she signed, "and it's yours." Outside, the world was louder in its ignorance. Strangers assumed they were helpless. Employers hesitated to hire them. Even well-meaning friends would speak slowly as if deafness meant they were simple. But in their private world, they built a universe where hands spoke louder than voices. There were days when the silence stretched thin, when the world's noise seeped into their haven. But they held on to each other, weathering the storms, finding solace in the shared understanding that bound them. One winter night, after a bitter argument, Ethan disappeared for hours. Lena's anger turned to fear. Had he given up? Had the weight of silence become too much? Then her phone lit up, a video message. She pressed play. Ethan stood in an empty concert hall, the same one where he had once performed. His hands began to move, signing not just words but emotion, raw and unfiltered. "I spent my life waiting for the perfect melody. But you are the silence between the notes. The part that makes the music matter. I don't need to hear to know that my soul recognizes yours." Tears blurred her vision as the camera panned to the piano. Ethan placed his hands on the keys, not to play, but to feel the vibrations as he struck the chords. A song for her, written in a language only they understood. His message was clear. Their love wasn't defined by the absence of sound, but by the depth of feeling. It was a love letter whispered in the language of the heart, a melody that echoed long after the last note faded away. And he took her to the rooftop where they'd had their first real conversation. The city lights glittered below, but neither of them noticed. Ethan dropped to one knee. No words, no grand speech. Just his hands, trembling slightly as he signed. "You taught me that love doesn't need sound. It doesn't need perfect words. It just needs to be true. Be my forever. Marry me." Lena's breath caught. She pulled him up, pressing her forehead to his, her hands clasping his face. No signs this time. Just the way her thumbs brushed away his tears, the way her lips curved into the softest smile. That was her yes. Their wedding was a celebration of everything unspoken. Guests learned to sign love for the first time. Their first dance was to vibrations pulsing through the floor, their hands never letting go. And when they kissed, the room erupted, not in cheers, but in waving hands. A silent ovation that shook the air with joy. Years later, they adopted a little girl, Sophia, who was born deaf. On her first day of school, nervous and clutching Lena's hand, Ethan signed, "The world will try to tell you that silence is a weakness. But you, my brave girl, will teach them it's a superpower." And as Lena tucked Sophia into bed each night, she would sign the same words Ethan once wrote for her. "You are the silence between the notes. The part that makes the music matter, because love doesn't need to be heard. It just needs to be felt." If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe to Love Beyond Words on YouTube for more heart-stirring journeys of love and resilience.